Hey guys, oh well, this should have been set up a little bit better, but we're getting there. Let's do a couple things here. So I want to get into the ES. Let me just make sure that I'm on the right mic, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to take a bunch of questions today, and we're going to go through and plow through this. There is a tremendous amount going on today, like a lot, and the market's not even acting like it's got a care in the world, which to me is just crazy, but it is what it is. So we'll see how this goes for us today. They are walking us down with these semis. So just understand that they are walking us down. These put walls are moving down. They're not holding. So that usually means expect weakness in that space. Does that change with the Oracle tonight? I don't know. Maybe it does. So, we'll see what happens there, but that's definitely on my radar that they are walking us down to where those put walls are. Like they're not raising them, which is really what you want to see. If we go take a look at some other things that I think are pertinent, like they're doing it with NVIDIA too, and NVIDIA cannot get over, those key levels. And I think that's really important. You can't get over this 55. So, how strong of a market are you going to have if the leading names in the market, like, Apple's doing it, Google's doing it, and like they are lifting. But that's a shooting star at the top of a chart there. So it's not like it's the best thing in the freaking world. I know people that are actually looking at shorting it. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that, but you can see 230 pretty quickly. It's all going to boil down. You have this data coming out and people are not aware of this, like at all. And let me just go through here to get to this. So there's a little note section that I started creating, but you have non-farm payroll revisions at 10 a.m. And the market's not looking at this like it's a big deal at all. Oracle's earnings are tonight. That's definitely should be on everyone's radar. I mean, that could be absolutely huge for how the market reacts to that. If you are on the wait list, look for an invite this week because then it's going to shut down for a period of time. I'm going to close that wait list. Let me put that out there, and then something else will come to me. We can hide this for now, and then you should, because I should put this out there too. NBIS contract is a big deal. UNH reaffirming is a big deal. They're the big deals that I see so far. If I find other stuff, I'll post it. But they're the big deals. Let me put that down there. But for me, it's interesting because you're losing the big dogs. And, when you start losing the names that are the biggest, like your biggest names, yeah, it's a problem, man. It's a real freaking problem. Like it's hard to see a market that's going to go higher if you start losing Microsoft, NVIDIA, you start losing 12% of the S&P. So to me, the S&P is just, you're pretty much landlocked here. How this plays out or how the Qs play out here, you really are struggling with that 580 over and over again. And, to me, it really seems like we're just going to keep struggling with that for now. So, we'll have to see how this plays out today and then kind of go from there. But yeah, that's really how I see. There's like this band in here that you just keep running into, and they're kind of walking you down and trying to convince you that it's going to lift. I don't know about that. So I really don't know about that. I don't know that that's something that I would, my head's kind of cut off a little bit. No one says anything. What's wrong with you people? So I would watch that band up here. You're not really getting through. And are you going to get through before non-farm payroll revisions? Are you going to get through before PPI? Like if you're a fund manager and you're thinking about it, you had a really good year because you got a really nice dip. You bought that dip in here, you traded out of it. And so now you're looking at this going, CPI, PPI, non-farm payroll revisions, cutting rates, you're just like, wake me in October is pretty much where I think your head would be. Until then, you're just, all right, let's have exposure to the market, but how goofy do we have to be? And I think that's going to lead you to individual names more than anything. That's kind of how I say it. And I don't think it's going to be anything more than that, quite frankly. I truly don't. Let's go take a look at this UNH and see what you're doing here this morning. So, yeah, so you're already rolling a little bit here. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? So that's not great. So you can already start seeing it's breaking the flag. So you can always come down a little bit lower, but we'll see what this thing does. And if it starts getting its act together. Anything else I really need to focus on here that I think is like super, super important with this trade? No, I actually thought this was really good that they got it together, but we'll see how it's going. Right now, they can't really have that follow through. And I think they should. I think it was pretty decent. So I'd watch this today. I wouldn't sleep on that. So let's go back to the ES for a sec here and go back to this on the 5 and drill into that. And I mean, you can all see what happened. So it's always interesting for me to take these levels and look at them and then say, okay, well, what happened? Well, there's your 50% that you don't want to break, which is 6,500. You got right to the 78.6 of that fib level, and then you reject it. Like it's not crazy what's going on here. Here's your range. There's your bounce. Then you held 23. Then you got up to 61. Tried to lift. Tried to break 50. Held in there. It's probably a really good RSI trade right there too, right? You can already say it. I mean, you can see that perfectly. Even here where you undercut and then here, I mean, that's telling you that you're probably not going lower, and then it held perfectly. I would just watch it here. I'd just watch this like super carefully. From my standpoint, I would just really pay attention to this. I really want to see how they act on the revisions, but these to me are pretty clean levels to get you through the morning. 64.50 has been huge. And if you break 64.50, you're probably going to flip in the market that's kind of how I look at it. Meaning I think the market will flip if you break those levels, but we'll see how that goes. And then that's going to equate to this on the SPY, which gets you to that, 580 level up there. And then of course it's going to get you to, down here. I mean, it's not rocket science where that gets you. So you have some other stuff in here too, but it's not the same market, but it's not really the same. I mean, you can see where the real retest is. So that's kind of how I see that. I would really be waiting to see what they do here with these numbers before getting like super involved. That's just me. You should do what you're comfortable with. If I look at the Qs, you're going to see the same thing. The 580 rally into here, and then, just end the day dumping again. And I think the dumping really is just predicated upon a lot of things. Personally, I think it's predicated upon the fact that the market in and of, you can see in here too, how it just sold off there at 10 o'clock. I think a lot of it's predicated on, and this is just my opinion of it, the uncertainty of what this number is going to be with the revisions. But the VIX isn't even moving, which is so bizarre. And you can just see it's the same trade. It's literally the same trade with the NASDAQ, whatever you're trading, like watch. Isn't that crazy? Like that's how obvious this is. So, it's the same levels, man. Just understand that, a lot of people are expecting huge revisions. And if you don't get those huge revisions, you have a lot of people that are on both sides of this saying like, well, what happens if we don't get those revisions? It's a really good question, because does the market sell off? Because that means that labor is not as bad as you think it is. And if you get if you get them, I've seen everything with the investment banks from, they're definitely gonna, they're definitely gonna rally if it's weak because of this. And I don't know if it's super bad, then people might be like, oh my God, they've been masking this for years and it's really bad. On the other side of it, you could say, well, since it's really bad, we should be buying these other names. Okay. If it's really like not the revision's not as bad as you think, then you might say they're not going to cut rates as much, and therefore the equity risk premium might come in and the whole market could change. I don't think it's very clear cut to what they can do and then what's going to be affected. So whenever I feel this way in 26 years of doing this, if I could tell you anything, it's go get a nice cup of coffee, a really good book, and just chill out and see how they respond to it. And to me, I think that's the most important thing that you can do is just kind of there's a time to, everyone always quotes Livermore with it, but there's a time to go fishing and just like chill out. I don't really think you're respecting these. I really don't feel that way. I don't really feel that they're getting any respect whatsoever. Maybe 78.6, but I think my levels are better. So we'll just use my levels. The SPY definitely is paying attention to it. As far as news that you guys are going to ask me about, you're definitely going to ask me about NBIS. I always read those contracts, and I would read that one. I understand why the shorts went, oh, Jesus, now this. I get it. But I don't know that I would be, I don't know that I have to rush right into that. I just don't feel that way. We had guys that bought it yesterday and, absolutely killed it in it last night, but I didn't do it. I was too busy living in Miami trying to figure out why I didn't have power. It's kind of crazy, but let me just turn that down. That's why I always turn this down in the morning, but Boomer's got to remember that sometimes he leaves the music on, doesn't he? So I would watch this really carefully. It's definitely on my radar. It's definitely there, and it's 100% on my radar. This email's been saved, so you changed it. Hold on. This guy's screwing with me. Sorry, language. Inside voice. Hold on. My mother says I have the voice of an angel, no matter what you guys say. All right. So when you're seeing this, I would just watch the levels I have marked off. I can drop fibs. The other thing that you can always do is just a volume profile on it and just say, okay, what's the haps? And what you're seeing here is that valuation high area can't be really pierced, can it? And your point of controls down here. These things tend to test point of control. So, maybe 90, I'd look at it. You have your double bottom down here too on this trade. So this would be a nice one. I got your emails on the Octo trade yesterday for walking through that early. Say this. Hold on. Let me show you this. So you can see it right in here, right? So on walking you guys through that Octo trade yesterday. So congrats on your success with that one. I can't tell you that they're all going to do that, but this one was kind of a layup. I thought it was a layup. I mean, I didn't know that it would do exactly what I thought it was going to do, but I'm going to do it. I got a lot of comments on it. So I'm definitely going to do a full video on it, on why this went to 80. Like there's a lot behind it. People don't really understand market cap trades. I'm seeing it with like SATS, like people just aren't getting, why this went up and why it should actually go higher. It's kind of weird that people just don't understand the basics. I think I think the newer traders are so overloaded with technicals and things that they just don't even understand the stuff that's actually important. It's kind of weird from a trading perspective. So, just for whatever it's worth, it's super weird to me. What else do I have here that I think is important that I really want to cover? NVIDIA, Oracle levels. I mean, Tesla, we can do that. Oracle's tonight. 350 on Tesla was like a lot, and the call wall actually moved up on it a little bit, but they're still like, yeah, we're down here, which I thought was super interesting that we saw that. And let me just go to this real quick. I just want to see something, see if I can add any more value to it. Yeah, when you're flipping 350, I don't know that I agree with that assessment. I don't agree with that assessment. Let's take a look at this for a second, see what we're saying here. Yeah, you're definitely saying that. So I'd watch that 344.89. I'm just looking at the option market and see if I can add any value to it, to what I'm saying, and I really can't. I really don't see it that way. You know, and I do want to do these because I'm going to forget them. You're seeing a lot of buying in this, like in dark pools. So just be aware of that. I have this in my notes and I forgot to go over it. And I think it's because of earnings coming. You know where else I saw this when I was looking at it? And I'm not really sure why this is taking so long to load in. But let me just see something here. See if it's doing it that way. Yeah, you're still giving me a hard time. I really don't understand why this thing's giving me a hard time lately. It's weird. Same thing here, I noticed. You have this band up here you keep hitting and rejecting, but yep. So it's like as soon as, you know, I loaded in this app, Chat GPT, and I put the app like on this computer system. And as soon as I did that, I started getting, Discord started getting super buggy, like super buggy. I wonder if there's any correlation there. But watch these. You get a lot of insider, a lot of insider buying, and you had some, which was interesting, the way they're doing it through the options. Like they have option exercises, but they're actually going long it. It looks like they're selling, but they're just exercising. And then the other that I thought was super interesting was the amount of dark pool volume that you had in this. Like I can't figure it out for the life of me why that's happening. So, you know, some of this stuff's super, super interesting. And, you know, I gotta figure this out. You know, I gotta really look at that and figure it out. But they're buying calls on this, and I find that super interesting. I'm just going through my notes. So let's just see how this goes. I wonder if it's got something to do with the revisions. Like, do they know something we don't? Like, are the revisions not going to be as bad, or are the revisions going to be so bad that they're going to hit rates which make it better to buy cars? Or is it a tariff trade? Man, I nailed that trade. Whew. Boy, oh boy, did I nail that trade. It makes me wonder if we're going to see something else with tariffs. So you would think that luxury goods out of France would be going up if Chinese names are moving. So why isn't that happening? And the other thing is, why are these names moving so much? Because we're going to be flooded with what? We're going to be flooded with, like, look at these names. Are we going to be flooded with oil? Is that what's coming? I don't know. There's some things there, guys, that you have to think about. You know, why is that moving the way it is? I know why gold's moving the way it is because we have all that uncertainty, but you're pretty toppy on gold. You just hit the fib extension off the ascended triangle. So that's probably it. At least that's how I see it, but you should do what you're comfortable with. Bum, bum, bum. What do you got, John? Yeah, I don't think there's anything to do until we see the number. What do you got? PI? I don't know what this thing is. Obviously, it's a freaking monster since earnings. So yeah, I mean, there's not much value I'm going to add here to this, like at all. But it's an absolute monster. AVNT. I don't have enough of my buying's going away. I'm at a key level and I keep rejecting it. PI looks better. Please hit the like button. It helps greatly with the algorithm. Also, I would subscribe because some of these videos are going out at different times. And there's also like 3-minute clips now that are like pretty actionable. Octo, NBIS, Hood, Circle. What do we want to do here? Circle looks like a pig. It tried to rally yesterday. The Octo trade's pretty much, it probably goes back up at some point, maybe, but the real money's made. So, that's a complete definition of reflexivity. I really like this, but, wake me at 90, maybe. This is super interesting because I actually think that this can continue. The buying that you had yesterday was freaking insane. And what you saw was the news hit, and then you saw the flip, and then it was just on. Like once you flipped here, like that was it, right? Like that was all you needed. And there's not really much more for me to say about this. Like it is what it is. You got your news. After you got your news, it flipped, and then things went higher. Yeah, I really don't think you're going to fall apart here. And give me 1 second. I'll check something. So yeah, I just don't see that as something that I'm going to have a real issue with here. You absolutely exploded. It was really a 1-minute bar, and then you died, and you played dead. It's the same thing with the APP trade, same thing, man. Everybody's like, oh, this thing's a disaster. It's going to go to zero. These people on the internet said so. Okay. All-time highs. So, be careful. A lot of these people that give you this information have ulterior motives, guys. So, most of them are paid by somebody to actually go out there and do it. So, they actually found that one guy. It was pretty funny. There's like a big, like the Wall Street Bets guy. They actually just found out that it's like some dude in like the Middle East. It's kind of funny. But people knew that. I hope they did. That was like just basically guys just running stuff up, paying people to do it. I don't know. I would look at both those names. I think the Hood trade's super interesting now because of the strength of that bar. I'd be surprised if you don't have follow through. What you want to do with those kinds of names is always look at the end of the day and then see how that played out. And at the end of the day, they were net buyers. So whenever I have events like this, like I'll mark off this level, and then if I get back to that level, I'll take a look at it, right? But really, what you want to see is like when this gap's down and it gets over this level here, do those buyers step back in? And, that's really what you want to see. Like, do they really come back into that name? I'd mark it off. Because if they come back in and they're like, no, we want more, and they're not having regrets, especially after you have a huge move like this, then you're probably going higher faster. And then you're probably setting up to take out all-time highs. And then that's going to, and it's like the interesting thing about this trade is, and I don't have this on my list because I have so many other freaking names today, but the interesting thing about this trade to me is that at the end of it, you're really setting yourself up here. So like, if you get through that level and you get through this level, you're going to start hitting everybody's radar. And then you're going to be in this thing where it's going to be, it's Hood's hitting all-time highs. And, you start looking at these areas, and now I have this base that's been going on since July. And then you can break out of that base. And then you're looking at something like this, 135 target. So yeah, it's there. That's definitely there and definitely worth paying attention to, hands down. It's definitely on my radar. So especially with how strong it was yesterday. And that closed, but you just want to watch those pieces. My hope is that they just ignore it until, give me another day on it or something. And then, I'll go from there, but it's definitely on my radar today. And, there are definitely things that I want to pay attention to. So give me 1 second here so I can remember this, and then I'll go from there. Good. What else do I have here that's of interest? Yay, money. Thank you, buddy. Thanks, Julian. Oh, you killed it. Thanks, man. I'll make sure it goes to St. Jude's. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's what I do with all the like all the revenue from this, like all the ad revenue. I just give it to well, it's two causes, but the majority I think goes to St. Jude's at this point. So that's why you always hear me with the trade, just like write a check to St. Jude's. It's cheaper. I think it's funny. Thank you, Julian. I appreciate it. Circle, I don't know, man. Like I wanted to short this yesterday, and I have this gut that is just this short gut where I start calling it, oh my God, this thing looks like a pig. And that part is always wrong. Like I just learned over time that when I start feeling that way, like, oh my God, I got to short it now. Yeah, I'm just always wrong. So like, I just literally will just step back and just wait for it to rally and then look at it again. I would watch this like a hawk, but I think you're going a lot lower, for now. I mean, you're starting to set up more of like a Rivian vibe, aren't you? When you start realizing that all you have to do is just watch the IPO VWAPs and you see like, here's the IPO VWAP, right, Julian? And like you opened right into it and then you broke down. Like it's super important. When you see that stuff, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty obvious which way you're going. It's just a function of, can you ride that out? So I would just give it time, and because the bars are getting smaller too, right? Like they're not getting like this. Like you had some pretty extreme moves, the rally here, like watch. So you can see how it starts, right? And like the pop, and then you don't even have 14 days here. So watch it. I'll drop it to 4 hour. You see like the pop, and then here, like you're pretty much commensurate with where you closed in here to an extent, and you can't even get anywhere near that. So it's telling you like, hey, when you see shooting stars like this, after you're green and you see a shooting star like that, you have to pay attention, and they're just walking you down. The one thing that's super interesting about this trade, and I'll clean this off so you can see it, and it's one of the reasons when I looked at it, like, I'm like, maybe I put the brakes on for a minute. You're not there, but you're getting there, like you're getting this divergence. So, maybe you slow down a little bit and then start to, maybe you pop up to a level like 135 or something, and then look at putting it on. So I think you might I think there might be a squeeze out there. So I would wait. RR is one of those names that I think does exceptionally well when people figure it out. But, these smaller cap names are just going to get whacked around. Like there's not really a whole hell of a lot you're going to be able to do about it. So, can you resend the email for the community? Yeah, I can. Are you in or are you trying to get in? I don't know what email to send, Julian. Just email this guy. Hold on, because he reads them immediately. I have everything in email, but like, I mean, it could be a day or two before I even get to email. I don't read email like everybody else. So I apologize for that. I just don't. Here, Julian, just reach out to this dude. I just dropped it in the chat, and the billing department, which actually is one dude, will actually answer you. Or you just subscribe to the community. So if you have any issues, just reach out to that guy, the billing guy. He will help you much faster. Like he will get back to me. Like I'll tell him now, look for an email. Look for emails. Because he'll get to it ASAP versus me. I get a couple hundred emails a day, man. It's like, it's impossible to go through them all. I have to compartmentalize them, and I haven't done it yet. Good morning from New York. Good morning from Miami. I might be up there in October. I don't know, dude. I don't know, Julian. Like, I watch so many people play this stuff like they got it figured out, and I don't have it figured out at all. I truly don't have this stuff figured out at all. This METC seems to be the one out of all of those that's really holding in there. And I don't know, man. I don't know that I'd go near it. I think money's better spent. What's up, Troy? Just say no to Hot Pockets. I used to eat the cheesesteak ones all the time. I don't know what's going on with the tankers. I'm assuming it's got something to do with Russia and Ukraine, and the demand that's about to spike up here. To me, I missed it, so I really won't chase that kind of stuff. I'm sure the vol's through the roof. I really don't know how I missed this yesterday. Well, I know how I missed it. I was in that octo trade, so I just wasn't really focused. I get hyper specific on certain days. I'll get like hyper specific about Oracle today. I can already say it. Like that makes so much sense to me, that Oracle trade. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into this because that's a lot of volume. And I don't know the reason for it. I was just out of the loop. That's like a ton of volume in these names, like a lot. And they didn't go after Maersk, and they didn't go after Zim. So the question is like, why the tankers? So there's something there, either with output, that's not a recessionary move. So I don't know. Yeah, please hit the like button. There's nothing to, like, I think if you're buying this stuff, dude, you guys got to go out there and think longer term. I own these names. I've done nothing with them. I think that's not true. I added when the news finally hit. I added. The biggest regret I have in the past 12 months was I knew this and I didn't act on it right away. When he got elected, it was right here. Like this was out. And every president this usually happens with, but it was pretty much out that he was going to do this. And I just, should have buried these in the spec trades and just never touched them. I didn't do it. But we bought these. I'll tell you. And there's another one that you actually want to pay attention to the other one more. Hold on one second, dude. Give me a sec, because I don't want to misspeak. So yeah, let me just go to this 1 second. Go back to this. How was I here? All right, hold on. Someone will be like, "You're showing your IP address, bro." I could really give a rat's. There it is. In at 10 and change. Done nothing, like literally nothing with it. And the other one, this is the one I would look at because people aren't aware that it's going to be the same thing. And so you're actually making more here on a percentage basis because people aren't aware of it. But it's the same thing. It's literally same soup reheated. One's just Fannie Mae, one's Freddie Mac. I think we own this one at 8. Hold on. I hate speaking. 785. See, no, people aren't aware of Freddie Mac like they are of the other one, right? It goes back to that concept of reflexivity. So like on this trade, if you just kind of look at it, you're up what? 60% from like, we're in cheap. We're in from May on these, not now. And if I go to this, and I don't think this trade's anywhere near over, guys. I've done nothing with it. But if I go to like this May 10 change to here, you'll see that like you're up 36%. I don't know. I'm not going to use that. But you're basically up double because people aren't aware of this. I mean, it's like the definition of reflexivity. Like, when people aren't aware of crap, you can make more money off of it. Like, it's just, think about it that way. So, but I would, yeah, man, I'd be looking at those, bro. I wouldn't sleep on that. I like Google. I mean, I'm in this, but I'm not crazy about what I'm saying. So I'll just tell you that I'm not crazy about how you acted yesterday. And I think I got a gift. See this bar? See how you can't see this bar right here? See how you tried to get through it? See how you failed at the end of yesterday? The only thing that bailed you out was NBIS. And if you look at this in the morning, right now, like that's institutions from 2:30 on, right? Dentist's favorite time of day. Say it with me, 2:30. Get it? Got it. Good. I'll be here all week, guys. So, you start getting up to that 30 level again, and it's an issue. What do you got for me? You nailed that. That's all you do is win. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. So, but just want to watch that. I would watch this, and I'm not saying you're going to break down. I think you have a really solid foundation at that 25, but I'm up because somebody else got good news. This is so interesting to me. What's up, Bat? Like, I don't know. Mill will start screaming at me. Tell me I don't understand satellites. Waving his fist in the air. I don't know that you're going to, I don't know that this is going lower. I think you're going to grind higher. I really do. The ASTS to me, I think there's room for both. I would watch this super carefully. That is usually a bottoming bar. That's usually a bottoming. Let's see something here. Oh, there you go. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I'd be super careful, like going against this thing here. There's the 8 a.m. bar. They just bought the bejesus out of it, right? 8 to 9, well, it's 4 o'clock. Hold on. God's sake. That doesn't get any cleaner. So the question is, can you hold? I don't know, man. I think you're going to. I do. I think you're going to hold that area, but we'll see. Let's go back to a bear chart. Too many names, bro. You're killing me. CWD is going crazy, are they? Yeah, I think people are going to really regret that. It seems like this is going crazy, isn't it? Oh, that makes sense. Perfect sense. Calibers, would they invent air? So, yeah, I don't know anything about it, man. They came out with something at 7:30. I'm sure we're going to invent air. Or they're going to do a treasury, right? They're going to be a treasury too. Is that it? They're the chain link treasury. What could go wrong? So yeah, I don't know how I missed that this morning. I would have done that. Honestly, I would have bought this. That's crazy. You can say it already. So after what happened yesterday, everyone's going to be on this. I don't know how I missed this one. But it'll be the same thing. Company completed its initial purchase. Oh, they bought some tokens. Anybody know how many? Let's see if we can do it. A diversified real estate digital asset company. Sure they are. It tends to finance its length through ELOC. Okay, so they're going to borrow an equity line of credit. What could go wrong? So they're going to borrow money. We have our first purchase to test our system. Position to manage custody. They act like custody is a big deal. They set up a Coinbase account. Oh, we have custody and governance. You have a Coinbase account, dude. Call it what it is. Each acquisition or conviction. Bro, how much did you buy? Okay, so they may have bought one CoinLink token from what I'm gathering. They don't even tell you how much they're buying. So if someone has how much they're buying, let me know. But the fact that they're not even telling you how much they're buying is kind of crazy. But if you know, let me know. But this thing just sounds like something I'm going to short the bejesus out of, to be quite honest with you. Unless there's more data on it that I don't see. What you got for me? What you got for me? Can you send a link for an invite? Yeah, whatever, bro. Give me a sec, guys. This is super interesting to me because this sounds like flim flam. And I love a good flim flam. You can make so much money off of them. Oh, crap. Look at the time. All right, I got to go. I'd want to know how much they bought. And the fact that they're not even telling you is something that would bother me. But, it doesn't mean it can't go to 1,000. If you know how much they're buying, it is. But Octo said, we're taking in $250 million. I have no idea how big, Caliber's line of credit is. They should probably state we bought X. until then, you're just painting the tape. And I don't blame them. They're like this little tiny company. They're going to spike it up. They're going to hedge their equity positions, and then they're going to do a public offering to the public and sell their shares. And then like lemmings, they're going to buy them, and they're going to go buy, yachts, and people are going to be in their basement eating Hot Pockets, wondering what happened, waiting for the big digital revolution. Anyone remember NFTs? Anybody? You already have a negative divergence. So, bro, if you're in a $2, congrats, Sam. Like you freaking nailed it. Like, I don't even know how you got in at $2. Where the hell did you get in this morning? You're killing it, dude. I mean, to me, I'll just mark levels off for you, dude. So like, one, you scaled out already. Here's what I tend to do with these things. I left some of the Octo on at my cost. So like, I literally will not get out of this until it goes all the way back down to 7. But it's a tiny amount that I'll leave there. And the rest of it, I'm gone. And now I'm just letting it bounce around to see what happens. So when you catch something like this, which you did, and 1, congratulations. And 2, don't listen to me about like NFTs and all that stuff. Because right now, this part of the trade, like it's just, remember the stool, Sam? So like this part, I'm going to go through this because you're in this. That's the only thing you care about right now is the technicals, right? Forget everything else. The only thing you care about are the technicals, not does this product work? Are they going to revolutionize the way that we breathe? It's all nonsense. You care about the technicals. Right now, there's your level. You're not lifting. So what I tend to do with these is I'll have a demarcation line. Like, okay, if I close on a 1-minute bar below this lower low, which was a test, then I'm out. Right. And then I keep moving it up until eventually I get stopped out of the rest. And then I take it and I never go back to it. And I take it and never go back. It can go to 1,000. Do not go back to it because you'll get run over. You'll say, oh, I'll just hold it because it'll be. You don't go back to it. It's like going back with an X. It just never works. Just don't do it. So like once you're done, dude. But you're wedged in here right now, Sammy. So I'm just going to, that's how I say it. You could drop a 9 EMA on it and follow it that way. I use clouds. The clouds I use have like a vol feel to it, but they have a vol feel to it. But I'd watch this like super closely. If you're in this and you nailed it like that first, congratulations, because that's a freaking awesome trade. Like that's so cool. I love hearing that. I really, the fact that I didn't hear this, I don't know how I missed this morning, but I did. And, you're rocking with it. So, keep it going. Like there's not really a whole heck of a lot to say here. And you might get some FOMO off the open, but keep moving that stop up, dude. Congrats, Sammy. Awesome. Kill it. What's up, Ling? Good morning. MBIS, we went over. RCAT, no thoughts. I think you're seeing a lot of dark pool stuff. I went back on Waitlist and paid for it after 5 days. Was open August 20th and accepted payment. I received a receipt. Do you reopen sometimes during the month? It depends when I do it, Sage. I went back to the Waitlist email and paid for it. If you paid, Sage, then you're in. Then you should be in. You should have gotten a letter and everything. What time is it? I'm going to have to jump, guys, but let me do this real quick. I'm going to go through all this. Here, Sage, email this dude. Like now. I just emailed him. He knows to wait. Look for an email. So he knows to look for your email, Sage. I just told him. You have to set up. It depends on the emails because they changed all the email guidelines. You have to set up the to accept like the Alpha Chasers ones. What I really need to do is create a separate email for all that stuff, which I'm going to do. But you should have gotten that, Sage, so I apologize for that. What's up, Aaron? Hold on. UNH got some really good news on what they're doing. Let's go. I tried this, bro. I tried this one. And then, this. So I'm not going near it. It's too thin. I like the space. I think that I don't see how we go anywhere without nuclear going forward. But contact the concierge 100%. Solana, what's up, Amanda? Amando. Jesus Christ with these things. What good are they if I can't say? Let's do Solana. I'm sure they block of course they block the blue light. You can't see out of them. I mean, I think that's really what you're looking for, isn't it? That's how I see it. You're probably going higher. I mean, I actually think that this makes a ton of sense if you really believe on what's going on out there. You killed it on that. Who knows, bro? Certain semis, yeah. That's kind of what it feels like, right? Yeah, I think you're wrong there, bro. You might want to look at the options exercised and look at what they're exercising. People are assuming that because you're exercising options that you're selling. It's a huge misnomer that they put out there. A lot of people that post data have no idea what they're posting when you read that stuff. Yeah, I saw that. But did you see you have to go through the subsect of credit ratings. I'm not saying it's good. It's not. But you have to go through the subset. And then when they cut rates, it's good. Oh, you're welcome, Sage. Thoughts on Intel? I wouldn't go near it, but 350 is an issue. ALAB. I mean, that's obviously a huge move out of that little flag after earnings. I'm not chasing it. I'm congrats if you're in it. Yeah, I wish I knew why that stuff was going on. I've been in for the past week. I've been changing, so it's Treasury bought when announced plans. You're welcome, bro. You know what I'm trying to figure out though? Like, I didn't know that they came out and said that they were going to be that or do that. And, good for them. I mean, and good for you for like being in it. I have this level marked off. I must have been looking at it for something. Not really sure why I was looking at this thing, but yeah, I mean, that's really good news. Congrats. Awesome. MSTR, I think you're at that spot where, usually what happens is like something like this, there's a real big level here that you hold, and you start seeing the wicks develop. For me, with something like this, yeah, you can totally see it, right? So, you're definitely in that area. Let me see something. And then I'm going to jump here. I'm going to have to. I got the letter out early today, so it was easier for me. Yeah, you're moving it down. They're moving you down. So, this is a lot lower now. Yeah, that's super interesting. I don't know, man. I would watch this. I don't know. It seems like it's trying to set up. I got to jump, guys. Trade to win.